Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Directors meeting here for the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority this October 20th, 2023. Okay. Before we begin, what I would like to do is I would like to ask Member Metcalf to read our land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Chair Foster. The Niagara Peninsula watershed is situated within the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Adirondack Neutral, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties 3, 4, and 361, and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, the watershed is home to many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. Though the 2021-2031 strategic plan, we reconfirm our commitment to shared stewardship of natural resources and deep appreciation of Indigenous culture and history in the watershed.
Okay, thank you, John. We're going to move into our source protection meeting first this morning. So with that, we need to have an approval of the agenda. Member Hewson, can you do that? And Member Grant, second that. All in favor? That is carried. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest this morning? Seeing none. We do have minutes from the source protection meeting April the 21st, 2023. Are there any questions to those minutes? Seeing none, Member Hewson. Can you put on your microphone?
Just a silly little correction, but one of the points is moved by John Hewson, and I'm pretty sure it's either John Metcalf or Diana Hewson, so somebody could take a look at that and just make a correction, please.
We'll correct it.
Thank you.
They'll change it to Diana Metcalf. With that, Member Cridlin, would you move that we accept these minutes? Member Metcalf, would you second those, please? All in favor? That is carried. We have no correspondence, we have no presentations, we have no delegations, we have no consent items, we have no discussion items, we have no new business, and we have no closed session. We do have a report. SPC member appointment, and it's circulated under a separate cover for members, as it is a confidential report. So, does anyone wish to move into closed session to discuss that? Seeing none, can I get Member Seaborn is Member Seaborn is, I'm sorry, Member Tattison? Yeah, Member Tattison to second that this morning. All those in favor? And that's carried. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the source water protection meeting. And now let's move into the Board of Directors meeting. Approval of agenda. There is one change to the agenda that we wish to make this morning, and it's under closed session. It's a confidential appendix to report FA 4223, NPCA Public Advisory Committee. Oh, there's that. And also, the second one that we wish to have is a matter of proposed or pending negotiation of lease property by the NPCA, verbal update to confidential report FA 4023, re-lease negotiation. So if that's okay with everyone, we'll add that to our closed session this morning. Okay. Can I get Member Hewson to move that we accept the agenda? Member Grant, can you please second that? All those in favor? And that is carried. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest this morning? Seeing none, we do have two sets of minutes that we wish to approve this morning. First is the minutes of the full authority meeting dated September the 15th, 2023, and also the closed session minutes of the full authority meeting dated September 15th, 2023. Can I get Member Metcalf to move that we accept those minutes? Member Cridlin, would you second that, please? Any questions or any comments or any corrections to the minutes themselves? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Okay. So the chair's update this morning. So first and foremost, lots have been happening within the NPCA world. As we had discussed earlier, Chandra and I have been in various discussions with in and around the Great Lakes Watershed Initiative and things that are happening with that. We'll be bringing a more formal report in the very near future on what's happening within that realm. Big thing today, of course, is our approval of our budget, so I think that's an important part of this meeting. We've been already dealing with budget items at Niagara Region, and we're looking forward to seeing not only the NPCA, but police budgets and others at our council for future discussions. So I look forward to us dealing with that today as well. Correspondence. Here, just one moment. In correspondence, we have a number of items in and around correspondence, 5.1 through 5.4. And so I'd like to take these as a block, if that's okay with everyone, unless someone wants to deal with any of these items individually. So seeing none with that, can I get Member Taddison to move that we accept these four pieces of correspondence as a block? And Member Seaborn, could you second that, please? Any questions or any comments to any of these items of correspondence? Oh, Member Clark, do you? Okay, I can't see you, sir, so.
I guess I'm over top of you, behind you, the giant screen.
That's right.
My apologies. My apologies, sir. I couldn't get there this morning.
It's
I just wanted,
I just
wanted to comment very quickly on the communication item from the Hamilton Conservation Authority. The board passed a motion requesting that the Auditor General look into the recent changes to the Conservation Authorities Act, especially the provincially significant wetland evaluation system. Our board was quite concerned with these changes, and we felt there should be an independent third party reviewing them. I know the Auditor General has received our notice and they are considering it. I'll leave it to this board whether or not they wish to endorse that motion. Thank you, sir, for the time.
Okay, thank you very much, Member Clark. So with that, we're receiving these four pieces of correspondence. So all those in favor? That is carried. And it's, so to Member Clark's point, when we get to new business, if we wish to endorse their position, somebody may bring that forward. So presentations. So we do have a presentation this morning from our Director of Corporate Services, Ms. Lise Gagnon. She's going to be providing us the draft budgets and municipal levies information. So with that, I turn it over to Lise.
Thank you, Chair Foster. If you give me a moment, I will share my screen and start the presentation. That's assuming I know how to do this. Without showing you my calendar. Thank you. Okay. I've been told I need to speak slowly, so I am going to attempt to do exactly that. Member Houston? I'll begin with an orientation to the appendices in the budget report. So the appendix number 1 is a copy of this presentation. Appendix number 2 is a budget book, which gives you summaries on the budgets for 2024, both operating and capital, as well as programs and services descriptions. Appendix number 3 represents the historical format of the way we were presenting financial information in the past. And appendix number 4 is the new format that we are required to now report whereby the programs and services mirror the inventory of programs and services that has been circulated to the ministries and to all of you and our municipal partners. So the key highlights of this 2024 budgets is it's a zero-based operating budget for $13.3 million. Compared to 2023, pardon me, it was $12.8 million. Municipal levy represents almost 53% of the total envelope for the operating budget, and which is $7.041 million. Last year, where we were at 53.9%, so we're showing a decreased reliance on municipal levy going forward. The the flip side of that is that the authority-generated revenues are at 41.4%, so they are coming up as the levy comes down, and they represent $5.51 million of the total envelope. Other revenues are at 5.7%, down slightly from 2023 at 6.3%. The key drivers of the, okay, one moment, there we go. The key drivers of the increase in expenses for 2024 are that of the collective agreement, so the cost of living at 2.25%, plus the grid step increase and of course inflation. So the operating volume itself increased by 3.26%, or 421,000, to address gaps in service levels and increases in authority-generated activity. As I mentioned, the reliance on the municipal levy is reducing, and a pattern has emerged. So 52.9% in 2024, 53.9% in 23, 58.4% in 22, and in 2020 we were at 64.5% of the municipal levy. So we've come down significantly. This is a summary of the 2024 operating revenues. So you'll see the municipal funding there, which represents, as I mentioned, 53.9% of the total. Provincial funding for programs like drinking source water protection and the Niagara River Remedial Action Plan. Federal funding in this case is typically the 2 Billion Trees Capacity Building Grant and other smaller grants such as student wage subsidies and such. Program revenues represent what Director Christie's division brings in terms of self-generated revenues, as well as the planning and permitting fees within the watershed division. Other revenues consist of fee-for-service work that we might be doing, for example, the water quality monitoring with Niagara Region, and interest income and other sources of income that don't fit the other classifications. This is what we spend our money on. So salaries and benefits is the largest component of our expenses, and have the variance of 331,702 is the 2.25% on the collective agreement, as well as the grid step increases, which is a normal course of business. Professional fees have increased as well, so there is a variance in there, and occupancy costs. Now, the occupancy, in some respect, is offset by incremental revenues. Just this is the presentation on the expense side. So the levy apportionment, so this is calculated from current value assessment data provided by MPAC and modified by MNRF based on CA levies regulation. You'll see that it is going up slightly in Haldimand and Niagara, and it's going up in Hamilton and down in Niagara and Haldimand, but the numbers are small. This is the 2024 special levy that's proposed. So the capital and special projects represent backlog and current critical priorities. Staff is recommending a consolidated increase over 2023 for capital and special projects of $287,052, funded by a modest increase in the municipal special levy of $54,000 and other sources of funding, for example, the provincial WECI program and that type of grant initiative of $426,000. So the special levy by municipality will be addressed in a future slide and in Appendix 1 as well. Unfunded budget priorities for 2024. So staff, there is additional details on this particular piece outlined in Appendix 1. Unfunded budget priorities are not included in the 2024 budget request. Staff bring these initiatives forward for consideration and approval by the board, so that if we throughout the year can take advantage of grant funding opportunities, we don't necessarily have to come back to the board because the projects have been approved. So we are not requesting the dollars from our municipal partners at this time. We are trying to employ diverse strategies to address gaps outside the existing budget envelope. So with external funding sources, for example, we've been quite successful in the last few years being able to do so. Liaison with external stakeholders and levels of government, and we always try to seek out collaborative funding opportunities. So this is the levy summary by municipality for 2024. I'll bring your attention to the bottom right, and you'll see that the general levy and the special levy are proposed to increase by 3% over 2023 levels for an overall. Now I will note that we are losing the pandemic funding from Niagara Region, which was sourced from a reserve, and we were advised of that, so we've made sure that we comply with our municipal guidelines that way. I could go municipality by municipality. We have also had conversations with each of our municipal partners as it relates to 2024 budget, so there's no surprises when we do come forward to council. And that's it in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions. Was I slow enough, Member Houston?
Okay, thank you, Lise. So any questions to Lise in and around this? Go ahead, Member Cridlin.
Through you, Chair. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation, and just for the board to know that this has been looked at by the Finance Committee as well, and gone through in great detail. And again, the strength of having to have done this two different ways is, I think you mentioned that as well in your presentation. So just thank you for the work to get us to this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Oh, Member Clark, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to extend my gratitude to our staff. The budget process with the new provincial regulations makes it very challenging, and our finance staff did an excellent job. I know the council in Hamilton will be very pleased with the numbers that came out of it. So I just wanted to thank staff and praise them for their efforts. It is a comprehensive process and very challenging. And I'm glad we've got the staff that we do to make it happen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Clark. I don't see any other questions at this time, so thank you, Lise, for the presentation. Can I get Member O'Neill to move and Member Clark to second our receipt of the presentation?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor? That is carried. Let's move into our consent items this morning. So our first consent item is the volunteer appreciation event. Let's see, Carrie, do you want to add anything for this report? Okay. Any questions to the report? Seeing none, can I get, and welcome Member Beattie, can I get Member Beattie to move that we receive this report? Member Hewson, can you please second that? All those in favor? That is carried. Next for receipt is our NPCA Planning and Development Semi-Annual Report. To put it on the floor, can I get Member Grant to move it and Member Cridlin to second it? Are there any questions or any comments to this particular report? Seeing none, then I'll have you vote. All those in favor? That is carried. It's funny, at the region we always say, and you have to use the electronic methods. It's so weird not using electronic methods. So, next is report number FA 4523, Compliance and Enforcement, Q3 Statistics, and this is also for receipt. Can I get Member Taddison to move and Member Metcalf to second this? Any questions? Oh, Member Cridlin, please go ahead.
Thank you. Not really a question, but this highlights that, again, there's new reporting under the regulations. So, again, staff is up to date on all this compliance stuff that we're being told to do. So, great data that we have there now. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cridlin. Seeing no other, all those in favor? And that is carried. We have 3 discussion items on our agenda this morning. The first, of course, falling out from our presentation earlier, is report number FA 4123, the 2024 draft budget and municipal levies, and this is for approval this morning. So, can I get to Member Clark? Would you move that move this report? Is he nodding? Yes. Okay.
Yes, yes. Sorry, couldn't find the silly button. Yes, yes, my pleasure.
Okay. Thank you. Member Hewson, would you second it, please? So, any questions or comments on this to staff with this particular report? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. That's amazing. I don't ever remember a budget item going through so nicely and comfortably. So, but I do know the Finance Committee did a lot of good work on this. So, and the meeting was extremely good within and around that. So, congratulations, Lise. Our next report, 9.2, is the NPCA Public Advisory Committee. It's a member appointment, and this is for approval. So can I get Member Seaborn to move that, please? And can I get Member O'Neill to second it, please?
Second it.
Thank you. Are there any questions to this report? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Third report this morning is Chair and Vice Chair rotation and exemption provision under the Conservation Authorities Act. Can I get a Member Metcalf to move this report? Member Cridlin, would you second it, please? Question or comments on this report this morning? Go ahead, Member Beattie.
My apologies, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this morning. I think it was a good report, and I would support option 2. And if you take a motion after discussion, or you want a motion before, I'm prepared to move option 2.
So certainly, if you wish to put the option on the floor, that certainly would be appropriate to go along with that. Okay. Option 2. Go ahead, Member Houston.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't see why. I guess I saw this and I was wondering why we had this in front of us. It kind of looks like we're being given the option of superseding the general meeting with some type of exemption, and I'm not sure why we would do that unless we didn't have an interest from members in terms of taking the chair or putting their name forward for the chair. So if we're in a situation where there isn't interest in a chair, and I'm hoping that that doesn't happen, I'm assuming we would then follow up if Member Foster would still be interested, then we could explore an exemption at that point. But I certainly don't think we need to supersede that process with an exemption request when, we have a lot of leadership at the table who may have an interest in putting their name forward.
If I may comment, this is not unusual to the NPCA, and in fact, when we were at the Conservation Ontario discussion, there's concerns in and around how the governance structure is set up across the board, and there's been a number of exemptions that have been put through. I think the general commentary back in and through is that they need to take another look at this and the rules in and around what it is that they put in place. So. And that may be appropriate somewhere along the line for us to also add our voice to that, but be that as it may, option 2 is perfectly fine from my point of view. Any other questions or any comments to this? Member Clark? Oh, Member Clark, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask, are there people from our Haldeman reps or Hamilton that have an interest in the position? I don't. I'm already serving as chair at the Hamilton Conservation Authority. So option 2, really, before we consider voting on it, we should make sure that if in fact we do go with option 2, there are people that are willing to step up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair Foster. Yes, option 2 would be acceptable. I've sat as vice chair, and I guess the next progression or next natural progression would be to sit in the chair's position, so I have no issue with that at all.
Thank you, Member Metcalf. Any other questions or any comments to this? Member Cridlin.
Thank you. And again, just probably more for through you, Chair, for clarification of process. It seems like if it's option 2, there's nothing to vote on, but by having clarified interest, so that it would just be the natural AGM process that would take us forward. So I know that Member Beatty is interested in putting that motion on the floor, but I'm just going to question maybe process-wise it might not need to go on the floor based on the discussion. That's all. Thank you.
I think, being as it's a report that's come in under the discussion area, we certainly could receive that as we could receive the report as well and continue on. Whichever way the group feels, but you do have a report in front of you, so it's best to make a decision on it. Member Beatty?
Yeah, it's just to point out that the report gives you 2 options. If you just let it hang, you let it hang. But this way we decide that we're going to do it according to the rule book set out by the province, and Haldeman is the next in line. And if we're going to do the rotation properly, it should go to Haldeman next. And we should have option 2 to govern us. We are in sync with the provincial government until they change it, and then we'll see what happens. But right now, the provincial government says this is the way you're going to do it, and that's the way we should do it.
Thank you, Member Beatty. Member Cridlin?
I'm not, thank you, through you, Chair. I'm just not seeing it the same, and so I probably won't be supporting option 2 the way it's written, only because the process in February, yes, we have interest discussed here, but it's still something that we deal with in February, so I'm not opposed to it coming to the table, obviously, but I won't be able to support it then. Thank you.
Member Cridlin. Anyone else? Oh, Member Clark, please go ahead.
Is it not possible simply to receive the report? I think Member Beatty is correct. If we're going to follow the process, and Member Cridlin is correct, it's not necessary to vote on option 2. We simply do nothing, and at the annual general membership meeting, we go with the next round, which would be Haldeman. So I'd be happy just receiving this report. We're not, ultimately what we're doing, Chair, is we're deciding not to request an exemption. And if that's the will of the body, then the next AGM will fall in place and someone from Haldeman will step up. Thank you.
Yep, that's a fair comment. So is everybody okay if we change from having it as for approval to having it for receipt? I'm asking mover and seconder if they're okay if we change it from approval to receipt.
All you're doing is putting it off. It's going to hang over us until the AGM. This way we know exactly that we conform to the government's direction and we do it according to the book. So I'm willing to test the Assembly.
No, that's fine. Well, we can move forward with it as it is. Member Clark just made the suggestion of moving it to receipt. So the body politic here is saying no. So so with that, please vote all in favor. And that's carried. Next, we have 3 committee reports. Our Finance Committee meeting minutes dated September 27th. Member Cridlin, the Finance Committee meeting minutes coming forward. I believe you chair the committee. Any commentary from that?
No, thank you. I think all the comments have been made to the report that we had Lee's brief forward, so thank you for that.
Great, thank you. So moved by Member Cridlin. Member Grant, would you second, please, that we receive the Finance Committee meeting minutes dated September 27th? Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried. Next is the Public Advisory Committee minutes dated September 14th, 2023. Member Seaborn, can I get you to move that? Member Tattison, can I get you to second it, please? Any question to the Public Advisory Committee minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Governance Committee. Member Seaborn, you're the chair of the Governance Committee. Do you wish to add any commentary to the minutes?
I think at this point it's pretty complete where it is. I just want to mention, though, however, that you have me as the Finance Committee Chair. It should just say Governance Committee Chair on the minutes.
Any questions or comments to the Governance Committee report? So I'll get Member Seaborn. Oh yeah, we've already got the mover and seconder on this. All those in favor? And that is carried. We have no motions this morning. Do we have any notices of motion? Okay. We need to do a recorded vote on 2B of the draft agenda based on rules in and around how we do this. So with that, 2B under the draft budget is that the Board of Directors consider and approve the following recommendations. 2B, that the 2024 draft municipal levies be approved at the Board of Directors meeting on October the 20th, 2023 for discussion with municipal staff. Member Hewson.
Sorry, can I just get clarity on where to locate what we're voting on?
Page 34.
Page 34.
It's the report FA 4123.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Member Clark.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just a little confused. So we passed the budget, and all this is doing is saying, okay, NPCA staff, go forth and meet with the member municipality staff to present the budget to them. Is that in essence what we're doing now?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Member Clark. Are there any other questions or comments on this? Member Metcalf, would you move this particular motion? Member O'Neill, would you second it, please?
Seconded.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Member Beattie, please go ahead.
Okay, we're going to vote now particular on 2B. It's like 2B.
Yes, this is a formalized approach, the formalized thing that we have to do in and around that particular
Do
item.
we have to do the same thing for F? But we need a recorded vote to take it to the municipalities.
Sorry, good morning, everyone. Chair, can I come through you, Chair?
This is new.
Yeah, so it's not new. It's been in the legislation, but the practice wasn't needed in most conservation authority because members passed the vote by majority. The new levy regulation requires that the levy, once it has been put along with the draft budget, be approved by weighted majority of the members of the board. And it's a very complicated process, but simply put, the weighted majority is you take your CVA number, which is your current value assessment, and you divide that, take that number for the municipality, divide it by the members. So for instance, we take Hamilton's number divided by 3 members. Each member has that weight. And in order for municipal levies to pass and go to the municipalities for their consideration, we should have a majority, which is 51% of that weight. We can do all of that. We don't need it today because we have every member present and we have 51%. All we need to do is have a recorded vote on that second 2B to ensure that we have recorded a formal process of approving draft levies for municipal consideration. Make sense?
No, but I'll vote for it.
I
Coming
don't
from
know.
the
What else
provincial
can I
government, it
do
never
to
makes
help?
sense.
Okay.
For sure. So with that, we're going to do a recorded vote. Please go ahead, Chandra.
I thought we'd have to get on the way scales.
Overly complicated, unnecessary, I think.
Member O'Neill?
Yes.
Member Metcalf? Yes. Member Clark?
Yes.
Member Beatty?
Yes.
Member Taddison? Yes. Member Foster?
Yes.
Member Cridland? Yes. Member Hewson? Yes. Member Seaborn? Member Grant? Thank you.
Thank you. So we got that formal piece out of the way. Thank you. Notices of motion? Seeing none. Member Clark, please go ahead.
Just trying to confirm, would I bring up item 5.4 under notice of motion or under new business? This is the resolution that the HCA sent to the Auditor General.
I'm going to look around the room. Are we okay to deal with it this morning? I have no issue with bringing it up under new business, but it's up to the majority of the board. We'll bring it up under new business and deal with it this morning. Member Clark?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, coincidentally, we're moving into new business. So what we'll do is we will, under new business, that item will be 13.2. And we'll let you speak to it then, Member Clark. And with that, I'm going to turn to Member Hewson in and around the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Foundation.
Thank you, Chair. So in terms of the NPCF, we did have a news release in September announcing some new members of our executive and our new staff member, Sharon, who's been doing a great job keeping us organized, I will admit. The NPCF was also featured as a presenter at the annual meeting of the Great Lakes Funders Collaborative. Chandra and I joined representatives of philanthropic organizations from across the Great Lakes region in Canada and the United States, highlighting our work, and also the work in the Niagara River and conservation areas on Lake Erie. And we're going to be following up with the Niagara Community Foundation to discuss some potential funding opportunities. The Comfort Maple did have a video aired on your TV promoting some of the pens. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the beautiful pens that Mr. Enns makes. They are one of our popular fundraisers. We also were present at the Balls Falls Festival. We had a booth. There were a number of our members helped volunteer at the booth and tried to communicate with everyone in terms of the work that the NPCF and also the NPCA does in the community. I'm not going to read through all the ticket sales and whatnot, but it was more positive in terms of the impact than we've had in previous years from a financial perspective. We also have our Directors Challenge, which is currently ongoing. There was an email sent out on October 5th, and if members haven't done so, I would encourage to participate in our campaign if possible. I think it's more important for us in terms of the participation rate as opposed to the dollar rate, just so that we can go, when we're out speaking to people and trying to encourage support for the NPCF, we can say our board fully participates and contributes as well. So things to come. We did secure a $10,000 donation from the Niagara Region Golf Tournament, so we're going to be having a photo op for that coming up. We are a table sponsor at the Association of Fundraising Professionals National Day of Philanthropy on November the 15th. Our social media campaign is going to be held on Giving Tuesday, which is November the 28th, and we're partnering with Women Chant for a winter solstice event at Balls Falls on December 20th. And of course, we're having ongoing conversations with respect to land donations and corporate donations and partnerships. And if any of our members feel they might have a contact we can connect with, even if it's, whether it's a monetary donation or potentially a land donation, either a property or even a potential severance of a property, please let us know. We would love to follow up on contacts. So, and we have had funds of $20,000 pledged from the Rotary Club of Niagara Falls since we last brought an update. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions to Member Houston on the foundation? Great work, and it was an excellent meeting yesterday as well in dealing with stuff. The foundation seems to really have got legs underneath it, to say the least, as it's going on. So well done, and we look forward to much success with that over the course of the next couple of years. 13.2, so Member Clark, I will turn it over to you. Please put forward a motion if you so desire and wish to speak to this particular item as well.
I'll start with just reading out what the Conservation Authority approved. The Hamilton Conservation Authority Board of Directors respectfully request, can't even speak this morning, sir. The province of Ontario reverse recent changes to the Conservation Authorities Act and provincially significant wetland evaluation system that adversely affect natural heritage protection, and that the province of Ontario's Auditor General undertake an investigation into the processes that were followed to make the above policy decisions, and whether this decision-making structure and its outcome provides Ontario and Ontarians with value for money. And then C and D is just simply asking other authorities to endorse this recommendation. The board chair felt very strongly that the changes were going to hurt our process at the Conservation Authority. They are aware that the Auditor General completed a very extensive review of the Greenbelt scandal, for the lack of a better term. We are also aware that the Auditor General is currently reviewing requests regarding the urban boundary issue with Hamilton. And we understand that there are a few other requests that have gone in with regards to a review of the changes that the province made with regards to conservation authorities. I think we can respectfully make that request. It doesn't need to become a partisan issue. It's simply about having an independent body review those changes to see whether or not it was appropriate and whether or not there is true value for money. So I think the motion, sir, if I may, would be simply to endorse the Hamilton Conservation Authority's a motion, if there's a seconder. Thank you, sir, for the time.
Yes, thank you. I had support the motion from the HCA. Member Seaborn. So first of all, Member Tattison, will you second that? Okay. Member Seaborn, please go ahead.
I just wondered how this fell in line with the flip-flopping of the Greenbelt. Do you think that if the government follows through and returns the lands back to the Greenbelt, that this will eliminate some of the concerns with the wetlands that they're also kind of picking on?
That's a question through to you, Member Clark.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the question. Yes, I believe that is the case. The reversal on the Greenbelt will ultimately preserve a number of wetlands across the province, but there were still changes to the wetland evaluation system. And we really just feel that, you know, the Auditor General has truly expressed an interest on these things. And if there is sufficient conservation authorities requesting it, we believe that there will be a review. I can't predict what will come out of that review, but having an independent officer of the Legislative Assembly review it and comment on it, I think could only serve the public discourse on the item.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments to this? Member Beatty, please go ahead.
I'd like to hear from staff on item A. Do you have any comments on, have you had a chance, has staff had a chance to review this thing?
Through you, Chair. Yes, staff received the correspondence and we've had discussions with our sister Hamilton Conservation Authority. We understand that the Greenbelt issue has been resolved and we'll just follow, you know, whatever the board directs us to do.
Thank you, Member Beatty. Anyone else have any questions or any comments? Seeing none, we'll vote. Member Clark, you put this on the floor, and Member Taddison, you seconded. So all those in favor? All those opposed? That is carried. This brings us to our closed session this morning. So with that, just a reminder for those that are online, you need to be in a place where you are not able to be heard, or people can see what's going on with your with this particular session. And we do need a mover and seconder to move us into closed session. So Member Hewson, Member Cridlin, all those in favor of moving into closed session? That is carried. So we will make the appropriate changes to the room and we'll go from there.